The winds will be light early. Once they get to Harvey, they will pick up a little bit. But as they come back into town, a little bit of a headwind. But last night, we had an incredible amount of rain. So this afternoon, in the run course, it is going to be steamy.
It's going to be a tough run day, absolutely. You were looking at those guys, some of the competitors right in front there. We saw Patrick Evo, Chris McDonald, Tim O'Donnell. We saw also a former age group winner from South Africa, Kyle Buckingham. They're all there. They're all talented. They're all well prepared. But as we talked about, Hawaii always presents that extra level. It's a weather challenge. It's a competitive level challenge. It's the tension. You try to say to yourself, it's just another race. But even just that you have to say that tells us it's not just another race. These athletes have extra everything, extra fitness, extra anticipation, expectation. We've also got extra nerves. All of that means something spectacular could happen, and that doesn't mean spectacularly good.
Yes, and this is the time of the year where the body fat is at its leanest. These athletes have been training 6 months for this one particular race, qualifying from over 40 Ironman races around the world. Now, over 85,000 athletes try and qualify and register for these races to get to this very point right now. It is October 14, and happy birthday, by the way, Michael. And October 14 in 2017, Jan Frodeno is lining up dead center screen. You can see there right now that our lifeguards are keeping our athletes back on the start line to prevent the athletes from creeping out too far before race start. The nervous energy is at its all-time high right now. The energy of all week and the anticipation was right up there. Yesterday, the somber moments of the day before the race was down at a very, very low, but now this is exactly what they want.
That's right. And so basically what we're looking at here is we're looking at a picture of these paddle boards all lined up, keeping everyone lined up. In a second, they're going to go exactly in line with the athletes so these athletes can swim adjacent to them. And
so real quick, Mike, 3P. Can it happen with Jan? Can it happen with Daniela?
Absolutely. I mean, we look at Jan Frodeno, and he got third place here with a flat tire in his debut. And then he quickly went to 2 wins. He's now looking to take that third title. A lot of pressure in that seat. Right now, we're looking at overhead shots of this incredible Kailua Bay. This is the swim start for the professional men 2017 Ironman World Championship. This is what the essence of our sport is all about. These athletes in front are men professional. 5 minutes later, those women at the bottom of your picture will be taking off in the professional field.
55 of the world's best men athletes are underway with the 2017 Ironman World Championship. Frodeno, will he go for the 3-peat? Well, the answer is simple. Yes, he will try his very best. We have a 1.2-mile swim out for the turnaround, 100 yards with 2 right-hand turns before they retrace their steps and come all the way back into Kailua Bay for a total of 2.4 miles. But as we see the scene overhead right now, the 55 athletes on our men's competition is underway.
It's underway, all right, and we've got a few athletes that we know love to get out to a hard-charging start. The deal here is if you can break away, a matter of seconds can add up to a matter of minutes and even more later on in the day. The fastest swimmers from Australia, Josh Amberger from Estonia, Marco Albert, what about Andy Potts as well? And then you look at last year's winner. His name is Jan Frodeno, and he swims with anyone. So if they can just keep contact and get through the front of that swim together, they distance themselves from the likes of Lionel Sanders and Sebastian Kinley.
So what we can see right now, Amberge is out to a fast start on the top of the screen there. You can see that Frodeno has chosen to start in the middle of the group there. We've got 3 different packs heading out. We'll have that arrowhead form right at the head of the group here in around about 3 to 4 minutes time. So it is all out. It's opened up. The heart rates are at accelerating levels up to about 180 at this point, Michael. 400 meters into it. Then they will settle into a pace.
Sure, and others, the question is who is in there trying to win the swim for swim honors. I think this year we actually have most of our fastest swimmers are true contenders for a top 10 or better finish. So you can see that gap right there already formed, Greg. That won't close. With that kind of pressure, once you have that gap, we won't see those two athletes come together.
All right, so we have Ann Berger to the left side of the screen. We have Marco Albert. We have Jan Frodeno right in the center of screen. They will come together in about 200 meters from now and then form a large group at the front. But already interesting to note that we have 3 large groups already forming and one athlete there, what we call swimming in no man's land.
That's right, and he's angling over already. So you'll see the buoy line, and a lot of spectators back home and fans will say, well, what are we seeing here? Don't they have to follow the buoy line? Those buoy lines all the way to the turn boat are just indicators of where the course goes. An interesting thing in this particular race is that there's only one turn. You swim right out to the boat, 2,000 meters away, you turn around and come back. We are very, very close to our women's start. They're queuing up at 6:40 a.m. They've got that 5-minute deficit to the pro men. And Greg, as we talked about the men's race, we have a 3-time attempt in action set up here today, and that's Daniela Reef. She came in here as well, got second place, and went right to first place. Can she do it again?
Yes, I do believe that she can do it again. I think it's a race for second place today, unfortunately, but we'll have to wait and see. Anything is possible out there in Ironman, as we very well know. Josh Hamburger right now, with 2 minutes to go before our women's start, is leading our men's professional field. You can see that right in the center of the screen there, you can see with those long straight arms, that is Jan Frodeno of Germany. Now remember, Jan Frodeno came from a short distance background, the Olympics. He won that in 2008. Then he stepped up the distance a few years later on. He won the Ironman 70.3 title, and now he seeks that 3rd Ironman world title. He is sitting in a very good position right now, but we expected that this will break up here when you get out to around about that first turn buoy at 1.2 miles into the course. Okay, so over to our women's race. Daniela Reef is going to be one of our strong athletes, but Mike,
they're right there, guys.
today
1 minute.
we have
Hold
Lucy
on,
Charles, who has just turned 24 years of age, won Ironman Lanzarote this year. Last year she was the age group world champion. She will be swimming alongside the likes of Lauren Brandon. These 2 women are Olympic level swimmers.
They're top caliber. We've also got to mention Haley Chura, who was able to sit with Lauren Brandon in the 70.3 World Championships. But those 3 women are definitely the class of the women's swim field. And as we mentioned, Lucy Charles has an Ironman title to her credit, so she is something of a threat for a top 10 finish. But that is the start of the race. Same as the men's. We look at it about 45 seconds away from this start. These women have also to play with the idea of getting away from some of the weaker swimmers and putting some time between them and the start.
Daniela Reef wearing 101, you can see right there in the screen there. You can see there she is right there behind the whiteboard. We are going to stand by in anticipation for our women's start of the 2017 Ironman World Championship. Take a look at this. And there we go, Michael. They are off to a great start there, just weaving through the surfboards there. The lifeguards out there for their safety. Daniela off to a great start. Lauren Brandon right up there. There goes Lucy Charles getting to a good start there. So there we go, Lauren Brandon in center of screen, just off to a great start. And also, Leander Cave. Don't forget about the 2012 world champion. She spent a few days in hospital this week with dehydration and a little illness. But now, I saw her yesterday. She said that she was feeling much better and she is ready for the race. So Leander Cave leading out the center group. Lauren Brandon and Lucy Charles right up there in the start as we expected. Haley Chura sitting in there in 3rd place and off to a great start for our women's race.
Another woman that we have to look at is one of the top swimmers from Australia, Annabelle Luxford, someone that can typically sit with just about anyone. Again, another short course convert to the Ironman racing. And when you think about that, folks at home, what does that mean? They're saying short course. It's a mile swim, and the intensity levels are much higher. You can hold well above this pace for a mile swim. When you you go up here for 2.5 miles, it's quite a bit of a different story. So as we say, these women are swimming fast.
So as our women lead out at about 200 meters into the swim right now, Lauren Brandon, Haley Chura and Lucy Charles are leading the group there. Leander Cave is right up there. Anya Berenek is in there as well. So expect a lot of these women, to get their races going here pretty quickly. Okay, so our men's, they are at 7 minutes into the course right now, so you know that they're approaching that 650-meter mark. There's Jan Frodeno sitting in third place there at the moment. So this is the chase group. Josh Amberger up the road.
As we predicted, he wanted to get away. This is his first Ironman Hawaii, and the guy races with gusto. He likes to get out front and push the pace. I think we'll see him up there for a little while on the bike ride, just taking advantage of that clean road that he'll hit. You can see, again, we talked about Estonia's Marco Albert in that pack as well. And he's someone that has often, he was in the front last year battling it out with Harry Wiltshire from Great Britain, as well as Jan Frodeno. So that was our leading trio last year. But again, there's no special prize at the end of the day. Some athletes do get a financial bonus from their sponsors, but there's no benefit by being the first, other than you get away and you distance yourself from these other competitors.
Well, we know what John Collins, the founder of Ironman, the gentleman that came up with the idea, that he said, well, bragging rights are forever there, Michael. So I think that bragging rights are on the line today. Jan Frodeno in 2016 swam a 48.02. Can he go faster than that this year? He was about a minute in front of Patrick Langer and also Ben Hoffman there. So, these guys are going to, swim very quick today. And Josh Amberger is the one that's pushing the pace. That will help Jan Frodeno.
And I'm seeing at least 7 guys here. If our camera pumps back, I see 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is the pack. This is what we saw last year. This helps and hurts certain athletes. So when this pack stays together, it really probably indicates to us that some of the guys like Kienle might still be attached to that group. But he's probably going to get separation. He's probably going to lose that. But look at that, Greg. That is a large group of athletes that has maintained contact with those front swimmers. So just Amberger getting away, and these guys still fighting it out.
Yeah, well, when you see an arrow like this and a very long line of athletes, you know that the pace is on. Just like cycling, you get your echelon off to the side, and that's exactly what you're getting right now. You can see that there's a little bit of an arrow there. They're sitting on the weight, and that will definitely help them as the athletes make their way through the first 800 meters of the swim. The swim course at approximately 1 kilometre into the 2017 Ironman World Championship has arrived, and it is Josh Amberger from Australia who is setting the early pace. It is a hot pace. He's got about a 75-metre lead already at this early stage, which is good news for him and bad news for the rest of the chasers. On the women's side of things, it is Hayley Tura, Lauren Brandon and Lucy Charles that have a good lead on the women's race at the moment. But Michael Amberger's out to a fantastic start.
He really is, and that's what he wanted to do. The interesting thing to me is actually this group, this chase group is staying together, and certainly that, as I said before could hurt some of these athletes. You go out very strong, and looking at 11, 12, 15 minutes, the body can withstand. You can exceed your own limits at that point. It's what you pay for that cost later, and that will be possibly a dear cost. You do have in most scenarios a little bit smoother swim out to the buoy before you turn and come back, where it becomes a bit harder. And yes, that is Jan Frodeno right there in that front spot, Greg.
That's right there, Michael. Jan Frodeno is sitting in that second spot and Burgess up the road. But a man that has a bird's eye view on it right now on the boat there is Matt Lieto. What do you got for us, Matt?
Okay, we're down here at the swim, and obviously we have Josh Amberger with a large lead off the front. A few other athletes are trying to chase up to him. Braden Curry's been pushing the pace. Jan Frodeno has been pushing the pace as well. Kind of the big story is who doesn't make that front group. It's being spread out right now. There's a lot of fighting going on. Most notably, Ben Hoffman and Patrick Lang absolutely killing each other in that swim, just beating each other up, a lot of elbows being thrown. But behind that, there's now a large established gap with Matt Russell coming through. He's in this group. We have Sebastian Kienle has been dropped, and he is in this kind of chase group that we're looking at right now. We also have Jesse Thomas is in this group, but two pre-race favorites, Sebastian Kienle and Lionel Sanders, have been dropped already. When Sebastian Kienle's had great races here, he's been with the main group to the turn buoy. So it's pretty early for him to get popped, but he's coming through. He's actually moving some places in that group, so he's going to be chasing kind of at the front of this group here quickly. You can see him on the left side of the screen in blue. He's in about third position in this group, but they have... Okay, so yeah, right here we do have that chase group of about 8 athletes. This group is not great swimmers, but this is some of the big power on the bike ride. We have Cameron Worf in here, Sebastian Kienle, Lionel Sanders, Matt Russell, Jesse Thomas. These are all athletes that we'd expect if we had a 112-mile time trial with no swim to start. These would be some of the best cyclists here. But as I said, Sebastian Kienle, not a great start to his swim, but he's now gone through this group, and he's found clean water, and he's doing the best he can to limit his losses. No mistake, there's no way he's moving back on this group that's ahead of him. He's going to continue to hemorrhage time, but he needs to do what he can now to make sure he limits his losses, so he has a gap that is attainable that he can ride through to get to the front of this race on the bike ride. We know that's his strength, but ahead of him, we have a large group of about 30 athletes that is staying pretty solid. We'll probably have another 5 swimmers maybe come back to this Kienle group, but all the main favorites besides Sebastian Kienle and Lionel Sanders for kind of a top 5 or possible win, those guys are up in this main group. But big story here is how big is this gap going to be by the time we get to T1.
Thank you very much there, Matt. On our women's race right now, Lucy Charles is right up there. We've also got Hayley Chura in there, Lauren Brandon, and also from Switzerland, Celine Scherer is racing right along there in that group as well. Daniela Reif, we can report that the 2-time Ironman world champion is sitting in 7th place in the second chase group there at the moment. So our women's race is definitely spreading out with Lucy Charles at the head of the field, and that's no surprise to us, Mike.
That's right, and she just happened to that. Celine Scherer from Switzerland just won Ironman Switzerland, and she just did that. That was her first win. She won Ironman 70.3 Cozumel a couple years back. She's someone that races well in the heat. She's definitely someone that will be at the front up there with these women onto the bike as well. Her run not as strong, but looking at Lucy Charles and Lauren Brandon, these athletes, I think this is a nice little pack that can actually do some damage and get away. But we're looking at the Roca swim course. We'll be seeing more action from that, and we'll be coming right to you with this action. That's right, and here we are on the water, Greg, of this Roca swim course. You're looking at the women's race. This is that pack. We said that we have sort of a breakaway off the front, but in that pack of 8, a lot of talent, including Jocelyn McCauley from the USA, as well as last year's winner, Daniela Reef.
Yeah, last year's winner, Daniela Reef, is sitting in 7th position at the moment in that second chase group, but she's not panicking right now, just like Sebastian Kienle. I was looking at him just, swimming along there, and he was doing, really, really well. But the thing is, like with Sebastian, he's such an experienced, athlete, and, he just knows exactly what to do. And I think that, he's just biding his time at the moment and just making sure that his patience remains, exactly where it is. And I noticed that about every 5th stroke or so, he was putting his head up, just trying to navigate his way through and also keeping an eye on what was happening up the road. Now, Josh Amberger has gone out like, just everything blazing. He's just absolutely on fire right now. Jan Frodeno hasn't shown any sort of panic whatsoever. He's just swimming his pace right there on the left side, right up in that second position.
Well, what's interesting with Kienle was getting his group separating from the chase pack, getting dropped, you'll say. He's not just sitting in, and Matt mentioned this earlier, he broke away from that group, and he's leading out. So Kienle knows that he can't just sit in and let that time gap grow. He's asserting himself, and he's maybe not used to leading a pack, but right now he's leading, trying to lead that chase pack that's been dropped.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, they're doing a pretty good job. Our lead group in there, Josh Amberger's off the front, but our lead chase group is about 30 strong at the moment, but we can see some stragglers getting dropped off the back there, Mike, and that is a little bit of a surprise right now because they are having to work so hard, and I think that Frodeno is keeping the pressure on as Amberger now makes his way toward the turnaround at 1.2 miles into this course.
I remember we're only 18 minutes into this race, and at best case scenario, we've still got 28, 29, probably 30 minutes of swimming left. So looking at our course record of 46 minutes set in 1996, that's held for 20 years by Lars Jorgensen, a former University of Tennessee swimmer and Olympian, by the way. So we're looking at, that was caliber swimming. These guys are great triathlon swimmers, but they're still not going to probably be 46 minutes. Why do I mention this? We're not even halfway. I mean, there's still a lot of action. And as I say, with these athletes at this level, they, just about anyone can fake it for a while, and then you can't. Once you can't fake it anymore, you struggle. And so 20, 25, even 30 minutes, these athletes can cling in. But look at Josh Amberger from Australia. He has taken the bull by the horns, and amazing stuff here. He is just leading it out, getting that clear water, and really, really running for it. Good for you, Josh Amberger.
Amberger leads the Ironman World Championship. He has about a 70-metre lead on Jan Frodeno and 28 of his closest friends out there. Well, I don't know if they're friends or foes, but whatever it is, they are providing a perfect backdrop for us today and plenty to talk about because Frodeno there leads. You know that right in that group is Terenzo Bozzoni. You know that Tim Reed is right up there. Pete Jacobs is in there as well. They are all very, very good swimmers. And Frederick Van Liet is hanging in there. Timothy O'Donnell from the USA is right up there in this group. So it's great to see that all of our players are right up at the front at the moment. So they lead going through this race at the moment. These men are on fire. At 1 mile into the course now, Michael, Josh Amberger from Australia has done exactly what he said pre-race and during the week. He's going to go out there and leave everything out there today. Has he gone out a little bit too fast?
Well, you know what? He probably has, but too fast works for him. So I think he's probably gone too fast, but I think he can maintain that pace. So rounding that last buoy, looking at the Body Glove boat, he's going to rip around this only turn, the one and only turn. Obviously, you turn here and you kind of continue that second part, but it's really just one end point where it's very short. You have 50 meters across. That's all you have to navigate. Maybe he'll slow ever so slightly despite his efforts when he comes through here, but then it just turns straight back. I feel the chop coming back tends to be a little bit more challenging to those athletes that are maybe, he ran right into the buoy, that those athletes that are maybe a little bit more on the rivet. They come back into the shore and they have a little bit more I guess, struggle is what we'll say. Right now, taking that turn, we can look at the time as they go around to see exactly what our leader has over that chase pack.
Okay, and then also you can see that Amberger now from Australia is going to have to navigate his way back to town now. What we do is we look at the host hotel, the King Kamehameha Beach Hotel down there, Courtyard by Marriott. There's two buildings down there, the West Tower and the East Tower. Now the athletes aim for the East Tower and one of those cellular tower poles up there as well. That will be the navigation line. You can see that the bump is happening in the water at the moment. This is really going to play into Amberger's hands. You can see how bumpy it is out there, and the current will be with it on the way back in. So that's going to be interesting to note as well.
And so, it's almost like we're saying two different things. You're saying the current's with them, and I'm pointing out as well, the interesting thing is that these athletes that aren't maybe used to this kind of ocean swim, they struggle when that swell comes from behind. It's hard to keep purchase on the water as the water rolls through, but 50 seconds is what that gap is, 5-0. So these athletes making that turn, even still, I think what's going to happen here is you're going to see some people find distress as they make this turn. What a great shot, though, we just got finished looking at. Folks at home are looking at this, they're saying, what's it like to swim in the ocean like that? A lot of movement on the water, up and down, up and down. It's not so much of a crashing wave situation, but swells, movement, motion. That is very disconcerting to the athletes. When you start to get in trouble, it just feels bad.
Amberger leads the men's race, but on our women's side of things at the moment, Lucy Charles, she is having the race of her life at the moment. Remember last year, she was the Ironman World Champion in the age group category. In 2017, turning professional, won her first Ironman in Ironman Lanzarote, arguably the toughest race as far as that goes on the circuit. This is the Ironman World Championship with the toughest heat, wind and the elements. So Lucy Charles right now leads our women's race. Now on the men's race, Josh Amberger from Australia with a 50-second lead, and the bump is going to favour him. Jan Frodeno has company, not like last year. He's also got Patrick Langer in this group, which is going to be a huge threat to the crown of the two-time champion here. So I would imagine that on the way back, this pace is going to pick up.
That's right. And what's it like down on the water? I know Matt's down there. We'll get down there again very soon to see what he has to say. Some of the athletes looking and saying, where's our American hopeful Lindsay Corbin? Last year she was 12th. She came in here and really has been top American in the past. Unfortunately, she's slipping off the back, the reports say, but we'll keep our eyes out for her later. But folks are always kind of checking in where these athletes we're looking for. Really a lot of just disjointed groups together with the women's race. There's the two leaders right there as we're zooming in behind that lead paddleboard. But those two swimmers, aside from them, and that's Lucy Charles with Lauren Brandon right on the back. So Lucy Charles, a very open water swimmer, sort of tried for the Olympics in the open water swimmer 10K, and then Lauren Brandon sitting right on her, a much smoother pool type stroke. These women incredibly fast.
So Lucy Charles continues to lead the women's race here at the 2017 Ironman World Championship on a beautiful morning here. Temperatures are in the 70s right now. High temperatures are going to be 86 in town. Humidity levels are right up there, and the conditions will challenge our athletes, no doubt, today, as someone will be crowned just after 2 o'clock this afternoon as the Ironman World Champions. Will it be Jan Frodeno? Will it be Daniela Reef? Time will tell.
Time will tell, and time is all we've got. 25 minutes in here for the men, 20 for the women. Again, we're still actually 5 minutes away from the age group start for anxious viewers and interested parties back home. The age group men kicking off at 7:05, and the women age group athletes at 7:20. So still a lot of action to unfold here. But looking, and again, this is another nice shot. We can see the texture of the water. It's smooth relative to a terrible crashing wave type of day, but this is a lot of movement, a lot of swell coming in from behind. This is when the athletes say, hey, you know what? Can I maintain that? Can I stay on? Can I be in this position that I want to be in?
27 athletes in our lead group here, chasing down our leader at the moment. This is Josh Amberger, the leader. Now look at that. It is 27 strong.
That's half the field right there, Greg, in that front pack. And we know that Keenley got spit out the back of that, so another contender off the back.
Rookie professional athlete on our women's competition, Lucy Charles from the UK, Ironman Lanzarote winner in 2017, leads our World Championship at the moment from Lauren Brandon from the USA. These two women are two of the greatest swimmers that Ironman Triathlon has ever seen. Lauren Brandon has normally been doing the charge at the front in all of the other Ironman races, but now, just turning 24 years old from the UK, Lucy Charles is a new face on the scene.
She sure is, and you know, she came in here, this is only her 4th Ironman. She jumped right in and did Ironman Lanzarote and got 3rd, and that was last year. This year she went to the Ironman European Championship at Frankfurt and just really took charge. She got out there and only got beaten by Sarah Crowley from Australia on that run. Her best run is 3:13. She produced that in Frankfurt on a pretty mild day. So obviously for her to maintain, she's going to need to maintain kind of a top position. She's going to really need to develop that run as she goes into this Ironman Kona course. But right now, Lauren Brandon, another athlete who has no lack of experience at the front of these events. She was first out of the water overall in Ironman Mont Tremblant in Canada in August, and that includes she made up the time gap, caught the men, and left the water before them. So an incredible swimmer and overall athlete. But these two women at the halfway point, Greg.
Oh boy, Michael, they have stretched it out. I would imagine it's going to be well over 2-minute lead as they get out to that turn point at 1.2 miles for our chasers in our women's field. Looks like Hayley Chura is just approaching that buoy now that make that right turn, but 4th place is going to be approaching about that 2-minute mark. So, you know, looking at the gap at the moment, it is well over 1 minute for our two leaders in the women's race at the moment. However, our chasers, Daniela Reef, sitting in about 6th or 7th place at the moment. There is a group of about 8 women that sit in about that 4th to 12th place at the moment.
I mean, and it's a good spot to be in. They haven't lost that much time. 110 is how far back 3rd place is right now.
So as our women have gone around our turnboat at the moment, they are on the way back to town. Yes, just less than 1.1 miles to swim. Hayley Chura is chasing in 3rd place there. We've got